everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Angela and this is My Precious Yarnery. I would like to do a tutorial today on this Boggy Creek blanket that I designed. Absolutely love it. I love the colors. I love it. I just love it. So what I use, let me talk about the yarns and, well, let me show you the blanket. This blanket is approximately 38 inches wide by approximately 41 inches long. Now I say approximately because this yarn is pretty stretchy. So, but I didn't stretch it when I measured it, but it can be bigger. And I did 4 by 4 squares. Well, they're not squares or rectangles because they're not exactly the same size. I love how there is between them the white, and then it really shows off the yarn inside. So I love this yarn and Softly Baby by Ice. Now you can use whatever yarn you'd like. Make sure your blankets for Boggy Creek have to be 30 by 40 inches wide and between that specs, and 40 by 50 inches long. So I love this cotton, and I pretty much used 4 full skeins. You need approximately 4, so 1,004 yards or 920 meters. For Softly Baby, I used 1 skein and it is 220 yards or 210 meters. Now, if you are using a thicker or a thinner yarn, you're going to have to adjust your squares. It's very easy to do. I give you the stitch count and everything in the tutorial. So this yarn is called Strawberry Jam from I love this yarn. The Softly Baby is just white. Now the Softly Baby is a 3 weight, it says, and I love this yarn is a 4 weight, but I have the yarn right here. As you can see, they're pretty much the same, so I just put them together. I hope you really enjoy this tutorial and consider making this for Boggy Creek blankets. I will link all the channels below that are doing the Boggy Creek blanket drive, and you can go to their channels and get all the information you need. So have a good day, everybody. Hope you enjoy. Bye, everyone. Okay, so let's first talk about what we need for this. We're going to need a crochet hook. We're going to need scissors. You may need a tape measure. You're going to need, scissors. You're going to need yarn, and you may want stitch markers. I don't use them for this, but you may, and a tapestry needle. So first of all, we're going to talk about the yarn. Now you can use any yarn you want. You just have to remember Boggy Creek blankets have to be a certain size. They have to be 30 by 40 wide or they have to be 30 by 40 wide and 40 by 50 long. They have to be in between that. They all have to, they just have to be the same. So what yarn I'm using is, I love this yarn print. And what color is this? Strawberry Jam. I love this yarn. And they say it is a 4 weight, wash dry. Now, if you are going to do a Boggy Creek blanket, you do yarn that you can wash and dry. Don't do like cotton or wool or anything, just because you don't know if the kids are allergic, and they have to wash and dry them. And then the other color I'm using is just white from Ice Yarn Softly Baby. Now they say this is a 3 weight, but let me show you. See, they're pretty much the same, and it doesn't have to be exact, right? Okay, so let's get started. Put everything aside. I'm going to be using a 6.5 millimeter hook. So to start this, you need make your slip knot, and I do with this 24 chains. Now remember, if you're going to do different yarn or different, make sure you measure it to make sure it's going to be in the same, it has to be in between those measurements. So just your chains 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and I'll meet you back when I got 24. Okay, so I got 24 chains. Now I always, you don't have to, but I always work in my back loops. And these are your back loops. So your second chain from the hook, so there's one loop and there's second one, I'm going to do a half double crochet. Then I'm going to skip one and then I'm going to do a single crochet and then a half double crochet in the same stitch. Then I'm going to skip one and then do a single crochet in the next and a half double crochet in the same stitch. So that's all you do all the way along. Skip one, single crochet, and a half double in the same stitch. Skip one, single crochet, and a half double. You do that all the way along, and I'll meet you when you have 2 stitches left, 2 chains left. Okay, so I have 2 chains left. So there's 1 and 2. Now this always ends the same and starts the same. So in my last stitch or chain, I'm going to do a single crochet. If I can get it in the hoop. If I put it in the wrong spot, right spot, oh my goodness. So a single crochet. Then I chain 1, turn my work. That spot right there. So get my little pointer out, right in there. Right in there. I'm going to do a half double crochet. You always start out with a half double crochet. And then you're going to skip one. And in this space right here, you're going to do a single crochet, half double. Now it was right meant to put you can just pull it apart and it was meant to put your hook in. So single crochet, half double crochet. And then you skip one. You don't even have to worry about that skip one. You see those holes? It was meant for your hook. So single crochet, half double in the same spot. And you do this all the way down. Single crochet, half double, single crochet, half double, and you just keep going all the way down. It's 1 row repeat, simple. These squares will be easy peasy and they're fast to do. You got a little bit more sewing to do, but that's okay. Well, so you do it all the way down until you got 1 stitch left. Single crochet, half double, and then right here single crochet, half double. Now you only have 1 stitch left, which is right there. You're going to put a single crochet, and this is how you end your row every time. Just 1 single crochet, chain 1 and turn, and then you do a half double right into your first stitch, and then you start over again. Single crochet into that spot, half double. And I'm doing it for 20 rows. So remember, always end at your last stitch with a single crochet, chain 1, turn your work, and then a half double right into that stitch, right in your first stitch. And do that all the way across, and I'm doing 20 rows, and I will be back when I'm done 20 rows. Okay, so I only have a couple more stitches left to do. So I'm on my last stitch on my 20th row. I just do a single crochet, chain 1, and then I cut my yarn, pull it through. Now I like long tails, makes it easier for me to sew. So I sew my ends in, got one right here, and then I'm going to be putting the white on. Now they all have to be the same way when you start, so this way. So I am going to do a slip knot, and I'm going to do a standing double crochet, let me think, a standing half double crochet. So I want in that big spot right there. I'm on the side of it. So do a standing double crochet. Now you don't have to, you can just attach your yarn wherever you want. You wrap your yarn, hold it there because you don't want it to spin. Insert it where you need to insert your yarn. Bring your yarn up. So you got 3 loops on your hook, wrap your yarn, and pull through all 3. That's your standing single crochet. Now this is how I do it. You just want to make sure it's even on the 2 sides. So how I do that is in those big spaces, I put 2 half double crochets, and then I skip a space, and in there I put another 2 half double crochets. Then I'm going to skip it, and then 2, just make it as even as you can, half double crochets, skip it, skip that spot, and in the corner, how we're doing our corners is 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 half double crochets. So on your top and bottom part of your square, you're going to go and you're going to put a half double crochet in all your stitches here. So that was your top. And in this, now because I always work in my back loop, I can see where I can put a stitch there, a stitch goes in there, stitch in there, stitch in there, stitch in there. So you're going to do that all the way around. Now you will be able to see it in the top easily. So half double crochet in every stitch. And just do your sides as even as you can, and the bottom wherever you see where a stitch needs to go. And I'll meet you back here to show you how to connect it. And I just want to come on and remind you again, in the corners it's 2 half double crochets, chain 2, 2 half double crochets, just because, well, that's the way I like to do them. I don't like to have it too bunchy in the corners. Now if you want to put 3 half double crochets, that's up to you. I only like to do 2. Okay, I'll meet you back. Okay, I made it all the way around. Now I'm going to slip stitch. So how I slip stitch, let me see if I can slip stitch. I pull this, my beginning strand, and you see right in there, that's where I'm going to attach it. So I just slip stitch. Now you have 2 choices now. You can either just do 1 row, and that's when you will do a chain 1 and cut your yarn, or you turn it, chain 1, turn it, and then you do another, I'm going to do another row with half double crochets all the way around. So my border will be, put it up a bit, my border will be thicker. So I'm just going to half double crochet all the way around, and in my corners it'll be 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and 2 half double crochets and I will meet you when I'm back here to show you how to attach it. Okay, so I made it all the way around. I'm going to slip stitch into my first stitch, maybe. First stitch, chain 1, cut my yarn, and there we go. So then I will move this up. Then I will sew my ends together and put it together. Now, to put it together, after your ends are all sewn in, you grab how I'm doing. I'm not sewing. Nobody likes to sew, right? It's part of life, but nobody likes to sew. So I'm going to make sure they're the good end, like the back of your work is facing each other. So that's the back end and this is the back end. Face each other. Then, hold on, I'm going to see if I can help with the lighting a bit. Okay, so to put these together, make sure your squares are facing the same way. So they're facing the same way. And the right side facing out. So the wrong side are put together. And then you grab your color that you're putting your squares together in, make a slip knot, and attach your yarn. So I want to attach it only at the end. Am I going to go through both of the stitches here, the chain stitch, only at this end where we started and at the end of the row. So I'm going to attach it with just one strand, the strand that's facing, so the back strand of the first one and the first strand and the front strand of the second one. Then you slip stitch it in to attach and then go through your second chain at your corners and slip stitch. Now we're going to go and we're going to slip stitch all the way along, and you're just going to go through the back hoop of your first one and the first loop of your second square, and do that. Make sure you get all of your strand, there you go, and then do that all the way to the end on every stitch. And that's how you put it together. It's very simple. Now you can do a single stitch. I prefer just the slip stitch. So do that all the way down and I'll meet you at the other end. Okay, so I made it all the way to the end, except for I have 2 chains in my corner. I am going to go through just the first chain. So that's how you do that first one. And then I chain 2, and then I add my other squares. Make sure I have them the same way, facing all the same way. And I just go through as I start the first chain on each square. And then just keep doing what you're doing all the way along. Now keep doing until you keep going until how many squares you want at your row. And at the end of this row, you make sure you do not this square because you're going to have more than 2 squares. Make sure at the end of this you only go through one of the chains, chain 2, add your next squares. And then when you get done all those, you go through when you hit the ends to the end of the row, you go through both of those chains, and then at the end you chain 1, cut your yarn, and then each row you start with a new row with a new yarn. For your next row, you just flip it up like that, and that's how it's going to look. Flip it up like that. Add your next square. Make sure it's facing the right way, which it's not. That's the way it's supposed to go. And then you do it all again to the next row. And then when you get all those rows done, you have to you turn your blanket, and then you do the same thing to the other rows that are not put together. You do this all, that's how you put your whole blanket together. So say if I had 4 across, 5 down, so I would do 5, and then I have to turn it and do my 4 rows together. I hope that makes sense. When you get all that done and your end sewn in, I will be back to show you how to do your border. Okay, so I have it all together, my ends all sewn in, and it gives this little, I love how that looks, the slip stitch. So I have measured it. I need about 2 inches all the way around to make this blanket the right size for Boggy Creek. So I'm going to take the color that I used in my squares. Now you can use the white or whatever color you want. I want to use this color. I slip stitch it, and then I'm going to attach it to my blanket just with a slip stitch, and I'm going to chain 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just like that. And then I always turn it, and you don't need to. I'm going to turn it and work in my back humps again. So I'm going to skip 1 and do a single crochet all the way down. So that would make 7. So as I'm doing my border, I'm only working 7 all the way around. 7 single crochets. There's 2, 3. Now just the first row is a little tiddly. There's 4. There's 5. There's 6. And 7. So 7 crochets. And then how I'm going to do this, I'm going to slip stitch in the next 2 stitches. So here and here. So slip stitch in there, slip stitch in there. Then I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to turn. And then I'm going to do a single crochet only in the back loops in 7 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and my last one 7. And then I'm going to chain 1, turn my work again, and then I'm going to do 7 single crochets in the back loops. So there's 1, 2, 3, there's 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now when I first started doing this, I would put stitch markers in my first stitch and my last stitch just to keep me track, but it's only 7 stitches, so we should be able to do. So then slip stitch in the next 2 stitches, chain 1 and turn. Now you can start this wherever you want. I started it close to the corner so I can show you how to do the corners. And we're going to do single crochets in the back loop only. So there's 2, 3, there's 4, 5, 6, 7. Chain 1, turn it again, and do the same thing all the way down. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. Now I'm in the corner. This is my corner. I'm only going to slip stitch once now. Chain 1 and turn, and then do my 7 crochets in the back loop. There's 2, there's 3, there's 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6, and then 7. Chain 1, turn my work, and then do 7 all the way down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. And then I'm at the corner again. Now so I'm just going to slip stitch once again, and then chain 1, turn, and go all the way up and then all the way down again. Now it depends on your yarn, what you're using, how many times you have to go into the corner, but only go in it to once each time. So usually, now it has changed for me about 5 or 6 times. So, and I will come back after I get my corners done and show you what to look for. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I have gone into the square 5 times. This is what you want. Now I know it's hard to see here with the black that came up. You want it to lay flat. If you don't do it enough in here, it will curl like this, and sometimes that will come up. You don't want that. Or if you do it too much, it will just bunch all up. So you just have to take it by eye. So I went in there 5 times. I want to go on each corner 5 times now, the same as I did in this corner. So I went in there 5 times. Now I'm just keep going into those stitches now, the next 2 stitches. Slip stitch, chain 1, turn, and then to go all the way up and all the way down. And you do that all the way around your blanket until you get over here, and I will show you how to put it together. Okay, so I just want to show you, if you have your just 1 stitch left and then your corner, you can do 2 things. You can go into this stitch, do your slip stitch, and then 1 stitch into the corner, and then do your your single crochets in the back loop. Or you can do what I do. I just skip that stitch. It's just one, and just do my 1 slip stitch, chain 1, turn, and then do my single crochets in the back loop. And then make sure, because my other corner had 5, and I'll make sure this one has 5. Okay, I hope that clarifies it for you. I'll be back to show you how to put it together. Okay, so I've made it all the way around, and as you can see, I only have 1 stitch left. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. If you have 2, you go and do slip stitch in your 2 stitches, go all the way up and all the way down, and then you attach it down there. But I only have 1, so I'm going to slip stitch, chain 1, turn, and I'm going to do my single crochets in the back loop, go all the way up, okay, I made it all the way up. Now if I had to do 2, I'd go all the way down again. So I'm going to chain 1 and turn, and if I went all the way down, then I start putting it together from here. But I'm going to put together from the top and go down. So you just go through your back loop, and then your front loop, and slip stitch 7 stitches. And that's how you put it together. Very simple, very easy, just like how we put the squares together. And that's all you do. I hope you really enjoyed this tutorial. It's very simple and very easy and fast. And last one. And then I chain 1, cut my yarn. I like a long, easier to sew in for me. And that's it. That's how you put together, and you really can't tell where it's put together, except for it's completely 2 different colors, but that's okay. So over here is 2 different colors too. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and have a good day. Bye everyone.